this guy was in the whole world. He's this businessman who's running and have these little hats that say math on them. Does anybody know what math stands for? Remember, you know what MAGA stands for, I know, but the Yang Gang knows math stands for Make America Think Harder. So, all right, on behalf of Andrew Yang, welcome to the stage, David Cannell.
Thank you, Hoover Democrats. Thank you, Wayne. Okay, yes, my name is David Kennel. I run the Birmingham Yang Gang. Oh, I'm sorry, I founded it. My girlfriend runs it now. Our campaign is very much about one question. Why did Trump win in 2016? There's a lot of theories out there. There's a lot of viewpoints. But the viewpoints of our campaign, of the Andrew Yang campaign, is that Trump won in 2016 because we automated away 3.5 million manufacturing jobs in Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Missouri, and Iowa. Do those states sound familiar? Those are all the swing states. And he needed to win those, and he did. The automation in those states and in the Midwest and the Middle America has had an insane impact on this country. Life expectancy has gone down for the last 3 years. It's the first time that that's happened since the Spanish flu epidemic in 1918, over 100 years ago. So Trump capitalized on that. He went to those people and he said, I feel your pain, and I acknowledge that this is happening. We didn't do that, and he won. So he identified the problem, but his explanation for it was nonsense and garbage. He said, you've lost your jobs because of immigrants. You've lost your jobs because of China. If you look at the numbers, 20% of job losses in manufacturing came from trade policy and immigration. 80% of it came from automation. And I mean, the life expectancy drop is so crazy. And what did that drop actually come from? It came from a spike in suicides and drug overdoses. Deaths of despair. That's what happens when people don't have work. They don't know what to do. And it's actually a fact that recently suicides have overtaken vehicle deaths in the United States as a cause of death. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this is just the beginning when it comes to automation. There's an automation tidal wave that is projected to hit our society. It's going to be the first time where technology is expected to actually destroy more jobs than it creates. Retail worker is the most common job in the country. We all know that they're being replaced by self-checkout and online shopping. Other fields vulnerable to automation include call center workers, food prep, and with the advent of self-driving cars, truck drivers and Uber/cab drivers as well. This doesn't stop at blue-collar jobs, I'm afraid. Repetitive cognitive tasks are just as automatable as repetitive physical tasks. Many entry-level positions in accounting, law, pharmacy, radiology, and others are already on the path towards automation. The upshot of this is that a huge chunk of our jobs, some experts say up to 50%, are in danger of automation within the next couple of decades. So why aren't people talking about this? Well, frankly, it's nobody really wants to talk about a problem when they don't have a solution to offer. And many people suggest retraining, but government retraining efforts have extremely low success rates, somewhere between 1% and 3%, depending on the retraining program in question. And even if we did retrain people, tech jobs only make up about 8% of jobs in our economy. That cannot soak up the jobs that are scheduled to be lost in what we are calling the Fourth Industrial Revolution. So, that was fun. That was the fun part. Don't worry, it gets better. So if you've heard anything about this campaign, you've heard that there's a guy running for president who wants to give everyone $1,000 a month for life. And it's true. It's true. And this idea, universal basic income, it sounds insane when you first hear it. It sounds like a gimmick. It sounds like it's too good to be true. It sounds like a pipe dream. But it's actually a very old idea and a deeply American idea. Thomas Paine was for this at the founding of the country. Martin Luther King was a huge proponent of universal basic income. He wrote about it in his book, Where Do We Go From Here? Chaos or Community, his last book that he ever wrote. And he was campaigning for universal basic income in the weeks leading up to his assassination. Milton Friedman and 1,000 other economists signed a paper saying that universal basic income was a great idea and would be amazing for the country. A form of universal basic income passed the House twice in the 60s under Nixon. It was called the Family Assistance Plan, and it almost made it through the Senate, but it lost by a hair. And there's actually, a lot of people don't know this, but there's actually a state in the United States that actually has universal basic income right now. And what state is that?
Alaska!
And how does Alaska pay for it?
Oil!
And what is the oil of the 21st century?
Technology!
That's
Data!
right. Technology, data, automation. We can pay for something like this. We'll pay for the freedom dividend with a value-added tax. It takes a tiny slice off of every Amazon transaction, every Google search, etc. There's a ton of giant companies right now that literally pay zero in tax. Amazon paid zero in tax last year. Netflix paid zero in tax last year. And it's not just tech companies. Delta, Chevron, General Motors, all of these companies pay no tax because they don't declare profit. But if we have a value-added tax, which every single other industrialized country almost does, we can take a tiny slice of that and give it right back to the American people. So, if you want to know more, I'm sure you all have many questions. You can please come to our table over there, and we'll be happy to talk to you about it. I promise you all the questions you have, we've got answers. Thank you so much. Gang 2020, let's make America think harder. That's it. All right.
Yes.